So I'm going to try and answer this question again. The last time I answered anything to do with climate change, the video pretty much got nuked by, not by people following or anything, but by the platform itself. Because anytime you speak out and you start talking about actual hard science, like, platforms don't want to hear that. No platform wants to allow that. And because a lot of them have a lot of investments in the so-called green energy sector, and they make a lot of money off of that because, well, there's a lot of money to be had when you have endless amounts of government subsidies. And government subsidies, of course, come from you. You're the one who subsidizes that. Well, even if I don't pay taxes, yeah, even if you don't pay taxes because your currency is being printed to complete and total worthlessness to give these people their ridiculous profits in the so-called green energy sector. You have but to look only as far as guys like Al Gore and others running these ridiculous scams about give us money and somehow we'll make the sun god, we'll appease the sun god, and the sun god won't burn us all alive. This is the same shit, different millennium. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. The priest class used to do this kind of stuff. Oh my gosh, give me your virgin daughters and a bunch of your wealth, 20%, 10% of your wealth, and I'll make sure that God doesn't do this or that. Like, that is the reality of all of this. And you can say, well, okay, the idea of trust the science, stop. As soon as you put the word trust in front of science, it is no longer science, now it's a religion. You've stopped. So remember, the word science is baseline, and it's observable. That's what science actually means. It's objective and observable and repeatable. That's part of the scientific method, okay? Theoretical science, theoretical, the ideas of theoretical wormholes, things like that. These are what's called science fiction. Now, there may be a slight basis in something, but you're not able to actually access that stuff, at least from our limited position on this planet, okay? We have to deal with the finite reality of existence. Human beings have been around for a very short period of time. Cosmically speaking, it's nothing. Tectonically speaking, it's nothing. Human beings have been around a very short period of time when you look at it that way, when you look at how old the Earth is. I'm not talking to my 6,000-year-old Earth people. Okay, I'm not talking to you guys for a second here, because for you guys, that's a different conversation entirely. There is science involved in that, but that's a different type of conversation. I have to deal with this type of conversation, which is usually the people who believe the Earth is billions and billions of years old. Okay, fine. The idea of anthropogenic climate change, in other words, that human beings are doing all of this, to me is kind of absurd. Especially when it comes down to, usually it's like, okay, let's say that for a second that was true. What should be the solution? Oh, well, give us money. Stop right there. Now I know it's a con. Because if there was a real solution, it would be like, oh, hey, we all have to maybe eat a little less food. Everybody, including the so-called wealthy, right? Well, no, that would be uncomfortable for everybody then, wouldn't it? But the thing is these things are never applied equally to people. The rules are never applied equally to everybody. It's one of the reasons why the U.S. was such an incredible country back in the day, is because of the idea of equal protection under the law. The idea being that no matter who you were subject to the exact same laws. They got that idea from the Magna Carta, 1215. Seriously, that's where they got that idea from, was that the king couldn't just imprison people because he felt like imprisoning people. No. They were all subject to the same laws. Otherwise, there was no real reason to have laws. This is what we're seeing with caste systems that still exist in this world to this day. You can look up what countries have them. And the idea of our religion or faith, pick one, don't care. They all think that they are better than the other. And as far as I'm concerned, as an actual scientist, you are equally pieces of garbage in my mind. You are all individual snowflakes who are all also simultaneously part of the same decomposing, decaying matter that make up this whole fucking planet. There's your equality right there. And a lot of people, as I pointed out in the past, don't like to be treated equally. Everybody wants to be treated special, right? As soon as someone treats them equally, well, now they're upset. Imagine if there was a God, for example. How would God treat all human beings? Probably pretty equally, wouldn't he? Yeah. So most people don't really believe in God. What you believe in is a version of God that you like, that he treats you better than other people. Unfortunately, that is a truism for a lot of people. If you really get into your head enough, if you drink enough ayahuasca, you will figure that out. I'm not telling you to drink ayahuasca. For the record, TikTok, I'm not encouraging that. I'm using that as an example. So, no, I think that most everything that you see is a complete scam. The vast majority of it. If the Earth ever decides to get rid of human beings, it takes about 15 minutes, maybe 45 minutes on the very, very, very outside. All it would take to get rid of all of humanity on planet Earth is about 4 or 5 tectonic shifts all at one time, and all of humanity is gone, like gone completely. And even those who survive, even those in the Himalayas, way up in like Nepal, right, who survive it. Right? There's not going to be electricity, no communication, no nothing, and no real way to pass on 25,000, because it would take another 25,000 odd years for people to try and repopulate enough. And those people 25,000 years later would have no idea how to read any of the dire warnings, there's movies made about this. There's books written about this. There's science fiction is full of stuff like this. Stargate is full of episodes like this. Come on. This has been around for a long time, so this is not a new idea I'm talking about. But no, if Earth ever decides that, well, we've had enough of humans, it's over, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So, for most people, I think that this is one of these things where we have to have this sort of universal insignificator device, where I'm trying to bring people back down to earth and realize that, no, look, you are not nearly as powerful as you think you are, right? And if it's something where a government or some NGO wants a bunch of money and they're going to save you from yourself, just keep this in mind. What was the carbon footprint of every billionaire last year? Just in 2023 alone, some mathematician out there can go and find all their private jets, all their flight itineraries, everything they've done. What was just the world's top 100 billionaires by themselves, just their carbon footprint alone, top 100 guys and girls, because what's her name is that dancing chick, the blonde chick. I can't think of her fucking name. Taylor Swift. Anyway, yeah, dude, right? Go look up the carbon footprint of the top 100 billionaires in this world for just 2023. I'd almost put money. I'm not a gambler, but I would almost put money. Those top 100 are responsible for probably 50% of all the so-called carbon of humanity are just those guys. And it wouldn't surprise me if those numbers weren't too far off, because of their lifestyles. Okay, so why should I care about so-called climate change? Why should I care about any of this stuff when clearly none of the so-called leaders care about that? You are all part of the same compost heap, and you are all 100% totally equal in my view. All of you, every single one of you. I don't give a shit how many gazillions of fake dollars you've printed out of nothing you have. You are all equal to me. And I think the equality of bullshit that you guys all spin is fucking laughable. There's my climate change speech. We'll see if anybody sees it.